Yo-ho, broth here.
We gotta move some things. Sold another batch of Snap-on. These are my really nice, I think those are limited edition, the black with the red logo. Classic Snap-on. You guys think this is classic Snap-on? That's older. I mean, they're not actually older. They like brought it back. But I have all three, and I'm selling all three, as well as some other random stuff. Needless to say, yeah, we got a little to do here. I don't know where I'm putting these right now. Okay, we got our clippy clamp. Clippy clamp. Let's grab one of these. I was gonna do this first, but I think this big flat box is what we actually want to do. So you're probably like, why get rid of these? This is the color I normally use. Why are you getting rid of this one? Well, this is one I had for all I got pretty cheap. It's seen its not that it doesn't work, but kind of sell it before it doesn't, sort of thing. And this guy, another limited edition classic Snap-on, actually Blue Point color, is this blue with the white. Though this was a Snap-on, that one is not working correctly. That's what's got its own label. Let's get this label off here. And you're like, well, why are you getting rid of those? They're in such good condition. Well, because I wanted, because I ended up switching to the yellow colorway. And the reason being is I didn't realize those black ones were only in that generation for those three tools. I don't know, it seems kind of dumb. But, you know, I like my yellow tools. And want to keep it consistent. So hopefully somebody picks up all three of those because they're all in amazing condition. Right now they're up for a steal as well. I mean, granted it's a bid price, but I don't need them. All right. So this is a ton of them. This is obviously from HMV. And we got a ton. We got 2 Vola in the Oriental Machine, boom sights, AKG, 9 miles. That's not the reggae 9 miles from the lead guitarist of the Pillows, but the like jazz ska. I don't know that one off the top of my head. Indigo Jam Unit, heck yeah, and various We Love the Butchers. So that's Bloodthirsty Butchers, a best of album or tribute to album, best of album, similar things. So let's see what they did this time. Yep, they wrapped it all into one big one. I'm gonna keep this box though, because I do have a couple vinyl I need to sell. Turns out I was bad and I hadn't inventoried my stuff, and I had bought myself some duplicates. These are actually all used. How HMV works, and we've had their used stuff on the channel before, but you cannot co-ship used and new items. Just a heads up if you do decide to order stuff from Japan and import it. Like if you're like, oh, I got 1 new album and there's 3 used ones. That's kind of what I did here because I hadn't ordered in a while and I forgot. Do be aware that you can't. They will not mix and match shipping wise. Now, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing because some of those 9 miles albums, 2 of those are available new, and I tried buying them twice. They just never shipped because they're like listed as for order, whereas these, because they're used, they're actually in stock at a specific record store. So they obviously came in. Let's pull this off to the side and we can pick through here. Let's see here. This is not one that I had, and I almost bought it new. This is Indigo Jazz Unit, and this is Rose. There's a bit of discoloration over here, looks like. Nothing horrible. Most of my used discs, unless it's a rare one, I try to get like 100 yen, 300 yen, most 500 yen, but generally I try to shoot for 300 yen or less. Now there happened to be a deal going on here where if you bought, I think it was like 3 or 5 items, you got even more discount. I don't remember if it was 10 or 20%, but it was well, I think the 100 yen were 80 yen, so it's 20%. 9 miles belly go around. This is the only 9 miles album I know of that's available digitally, at least in the US. And even in Japan on, I guess it didn't look too hard in Japan, but this of their albums is fairly readily available compared to other ones. Indigo Jam Unit, I think some of their stuff has gone to streaming somewhat recently. Otherwise, basically the only place to listen to them as well as Bottom Rhythm Jam is on their YouTube channel. There was a limited run vinyl put out that was a compilation out of the UK. I did pick that up. It was available through, I think, Bandcamp. That would have been around the beginning of 2023. So we got that. Let's take a little sneaky peek. Okay, then we have, yep, Vola and the Oriental Machine. Now, a lot of these, like this one I have digitally. It's also on streaming, I think, via Deezer. You guys want to see why I have to put... Here's why I have to put... That's why my charger goes on top of my DAC amp. I don't like my charger on my DAC amp, but the DAC amp is warm. And Paisley, if I don't have anything on there, see, she's still resting her butt there. Paisley Marie, what are you doing? Yeah, that's supposed to prevent you from going there. Cats aren't supposed to be on DAC amps. No, they're not. It's a little bit cold. 66. But it's not enough to need to warm your butt. Apparently it is. So yeah, with the rows like you saw on there, some of these do show use, but then other ones, like this Volan Oriented Machine, still have the obi and still even on the outside. Often, even when I open these, I will take this off the outside and slip it into, like on the inside here, so I don't lose it, because otherwise I will. This one I definitely have already as well digitally, but if you're someone like me that listens to music and you always want to make sure like you have like a known good copy, that because what happens a lot on like the streaming and the digital services, if like say this has a certain version of the song and it's also on another album or another single or a greatest hits, they will actually use that same song even if on the physical album, and this is to save on like streaming, or if they want to bump their numbers, where it's actually like the same song in their database, even though it might not actually be the same exact, like it might be mastered slightly different for the single versus the album versus the greatest hits. Often the greatest hits ones are actually cut down a little bit. Often the single ones are actually extended. They're like EP. That's where EP comes from, extended play. So the still to this day, because this is a Red Book CD, if you heard that term, that is what comes out of the actual like formatting of it itself. That is still like the standard for an album, right? So unless I can get it in high res, which you can't get on a standard CD, Paisley, you cannot be there. No. Hey. Oh, I accidentally got two of these, looks like. Volan Oriental Machine. Sakana electric device. I have a feeling... Yeah, because this one doesn't have obi. I want to say these were both dirt cheap. So I just grabbed them both because they were both like... it's not on... They pulled pricing off of the invoice or the delivery. That's why I could show it to you, as well as my info, which is probably good, but sadly means I actually have to go look shit up. Had a couple great rounds of Call of Duty. First one this season before this. Let's see, 8400, is that this order? Nope. What? $14.99. This would have been a not cheap order if it is. Yep. Okay, so both of these were only 90 yen. So I thought it was 80 yen, 90 yen. So yeah, 10% off because I ordered some used. That's why I got two of these, because they were both the same quality. And actually, like, this one says it has the obi, but the disc is worse, or the case is worse. This one doesn't have the obi, but says like the disc is worse. So I'm like, for 90 yen a pop, just buy them both, and I'll, you know, do what my hands just gestured. Here you go. We have Jitensha. I can't speak today, but a very early Ore ska band. Single, I think. Jitensha. You can even see how old it is. I don't know if you guys see, like, okay, so here is like a modern obi. Do you see it's all stylized here? Maybe I can get some more light and you can see better. Yeah, it's harsh as well. But I don't know if you can see here how this is just blank white and black, and this one's like all stylized like the cover is, right? Everything was pretty much this way, and I don't know why. That's just like the style they were, like, still are in some cases. Like, they don't want them to like stand out. It's just very uniform. If you ever see like karaoke as well, it looks a lot like like that. Like very, nothing to catch your eye compared to that more modern one. And time-wise, we're looking at 10/4/28. That's got to be year, month, day. So 2010, that kind of lines up. Versus, see, this doesn't even make sense because this is a much older style from 2010. And supposedly, this is from 2009. Yeah, World Tour 2009. So yeah, this would have to be 2010. But yeah, this is how a lot of the older CDs are. Like, they'll have this nice stylized front. Normally, you would think, like, on a modern one like this, yellow would wrap around. Or if there's a certain stylized spine that you're used to seeing for a certain band, it would follow that same theming. But yeah, very common to just see the spines just be white and black like that. Which, like, compared to, like, my anime collection that I've shown on the shelves before, is very hard to follow, like, what you're actually picking out then, if that makes sense. Oop, as I just bash the camera. You guys are probably vomiting everywhere now. Projectile vomiting. My mouth can't mouth words. You ever get that? That's like cotton mouth, but you saw that time. We're pretty late at the moment, but not. Okay, someday. This is why this one is kind of hard to get. Is because it's the 9 miles. Distributed by Disc Union, JassRack. And this one is this is the one I've been trying to buy for quite some time though. I think we got another one around here. This one's also Disc Union. And this one is this is also the 9 miles. As far as I'm aware, the 9 miles is the same as that 9 miles. It's just like a difference in, but then there's like an international band. That's why it's really hard to find. This album is on streaming, but I think it's a European band that goes by 9 miles, like that version, no space. See, even though this is the 9 miles, it just says 9 miles there. It doesn't say 9 miles count with the. Now, I may see if there's other bands that are the 9 miles, or if this is more correct to be the, and may correct it when I rip it. Just like this one over here. Might put the in front. That also might, or 9 miles comma space the. Because that might correct that issue with the collisions you get when you try to get metadata. Because it's hitting that other band. This is the Uchu Sen, I believe this is. This is the one I was trying to order, the 4-order one that failed to order twice. Couldn't order it. I actually paid more for this used copy than a new one would cost if I could order it. But I couldn't. Because, as I said, you do the 4-order and it would just never come and it would stall your whole order. I tried multiple times. There's another one in here that I spent quite substantially on, even though it's a used copy. So, we've got another Indigo Jam Unit that I didn't have, which is Decade. Indigo Jam Unit live at Billboard Live. Also Basis Records. Love their stuff. If you want some really good jazz, check out Indigo Jam Unit. Like, seriously, and if you can't find them, hit me up. Our Discord's linked down below. I'll help you find find a place to get it. That you have access to. But it's not. This is like niche in Japan. So that's where we're starting to get into issues. There's a vinyl I saw on US eBay that went for like think it was a vinyl of a single maybe or something. That was like $150 or $300 for some reason on US eBay. Just randomly came up in my searches when I was searching for stuff, and I hadn't seen that like release anywhere. Very interesting. I've ran into that with Your Song Is Good as well. They're quite a bit more mainstream than Indigo Jam Unit, but their early stuff, like there isn't a record of it. Yeah, like, I'm sure somebody has a record someplace, but like from what I can find, even using US or Japanese Google, nah. What was the Butcher's one of vinyl? Holy shit, that's why that one's so expensive. So here's another case of fuck it, just buy them both. Broken Mirror, limited edition singles for Boom Satellites. Broken Mirror is I believe it was on. I might be wrong. Yeah, bro. I do know Lowbrow is Mute remix. It's a really good remix. That artwork pops. That's obviously Gundam. I think Unicorn Gundam. Might be wrong. Correct me down below. But that opens up, I believe. Might be wrong. No, there's the one in the middle. Yeah, it's Unicorn Gundam. I was right. I remember when this came out. Yeah, those were only both 270 yen. So they were originally 300 yen. I think $3 prior to stuff. And these are the limited edition ones. I don't remember. They should have been, it looks like 1,300 yen originally back in 2012. With Japan, it's kind of weird. You never, like, sometimes, I don't know. It depends on what you're reading. Sometimes it'll go, it seems like on the, like, official stuff on the records, it goes year, month, day. But then they also seem to use day, month, year sometimes. And also sometimes they don't use the 0. I've seen that a lot, which bugs me. A 9mm parabellum bullet loves doing that. So I picked up both of these because they're both so cheap. They're both the limited editions. What quality were they both? Condition A. And I think there were different notes on what was good and what was bad on these. I think one of these does look like a little bit more browned. Yeah, like this one on the back. Like the white on it, if I can zoom in. Not that, I mean, we can zoom in that far. But I don't know if you can see that this seems like a little bit more off-white, the one on the back, compared to the one on the front here. You can definitely see there on the text, like this one on the front is a little bit more white, but then it's got a little bit peeling there. So we'll have to see. The bigger thing is going to be obviously the discs themselves. Yeah, oh yeah, this one also was the, why I picked this one up. You're like, why are you picking up that? Because it's got the DVD in it. CD plus DVD. This thing basically looks untouched as well. If you're wondering why the tape's here, they're trying to cover up the original UPC so it doesn't get scanned as new. You know, so they can scan their used barcode. There we go. We got all our used ones. We're going to have to zoom out to get in this. Now you're probably like, hey, you already own this one. Yeah, in fact, you ordered it new. I did. Mooski has been wanting the vinyl releases from Asian Kung Fu Generation. And they're only available as limited edition pre-orders usually, or maybe right after release. This one was up used. Here, originally $5,500, used for $4,400. But the fact that it's available at all, and I was like, hey, I found a number of used things that I wanted to snag. You want me to get it for you? You know, we'll toss it in here and split the shipping. Then, next up, and this was the one that cost more than new, if I recall correctly. And that is There you go. Indie version of We Love the Butchers. Bloodthirsty Butchers tribute album. So some of the bands that I really, really like have come from We Love the Butchers and Butchers tribute albums. Also, that is another great thing I do like, actually, about Japan and their music scene and stuff like that. They do tribute albums. I think there will be one coming out shortly for the Pillows as well, because they've called it quits now. But generally speaking, those are bands that like really like the Pillows, or the Pillows like. It can go one or the other. Like sometimes the band will ask certain bands to do tribute stuff to them, or sometimes they'll be like, who wants to, and certain bands will be like ones that quoted like, yeah, they were our inspiration, they'll do the tribute. Now Bloodthirsty Butchers they have like 2 different CD versions. I didn't even know this vinyl version existed. Like, and they're all different sets. Like, that's how influential they were. There's all different versions of this album, basically. For the there's all different versions. Apparently this is a 2 LP. It does not feel like a 2 LP. There are 2 in there. There are 2 paper sleeves in there. It does seem like the case for this has been a bit deconstructed, though I have seen some early days from like Polysticks, maybe a Butcher's album, and they have this clear vinyl outer, and that's all it's in, and they just have like, it's either printed right on the front or it's like a paper in there, and then the vinyl just goes straight in. But it's got this like, and this is exactly what I'm thinking it is, because if you look, there's like this crease here. You can see it. That's actually the sleeve that they're in. Some of those I swap out, some of them I don't. Depends on what state it's in, because obviously I want the vinyl to be quality. You know what I mean? Like to stay in a good condition. So it's we got this one out for Mooski, so he can start his Asian Kung Fu Generation vinyl collection. I picked up this one. I think I paid, like I said, more for this than used the new, but I didn't even know this version existed. You know, like the vinyl variant with this lineup, indie version. There are 2 different other ones made for We Love the Butchers that are done from 2 different labels that have different lineups as well. And they have the same name of the album. So you actually have to put like the name of the label after to tell they're a different release. And they're very different. My only guess is because they might have had or did have different labels during their time, so each one could put one out. I'm not sure why that is. I wasn't around, back when this was made. Less Than TV, some of the stuff from Foul, and I think some of the stuff from Guitar Wolf came out from there. So it's an interesting piece. This is the stuff I look for used, for those wondering, is the stuff, like you'll see me buy new stuff. Obviously, what ends up happening is if you don't get that new, you pretty much have to wait and work to hit that used market. So this did already, right? And this is about a year old, I want to say. So that's like you're going to be waiting, because it's got to cycle into the new market and then out. Yeah, okay, so 3 years. 2022, 10/26 is when this came out. So, it's going to take a while. This was, at the time of purchasing this, the only Asian Kung Fu Generation vinyl on their website, new or used. So, keep that in mind. That's why I generally try to pick up when they re-release these on their like remastered or analog remastered straight to vinyl ones, like Blanky Jet City had. I try to snatch those up because like they are one of the Tokyo Skas went for order, and I'm like, oof. Luckily one of the shops had it, so the online shop just got it from the physical location, and I got it still. Because CD Japan, I had to get that through HMB. CD Japan already couldn't get them. Sometimes with CD Japan, because they're not like a reseller, but they're not like a record shop in Japan, I don't think, or they're not treated that same way. They'll have like a limited number, like say there'll be like 9 pre-orders. Sometimes when you go and order, it'll tell you like, hey, we have 9 left of these on the initial order. And then sometimes it'll also tell you like there won't be another order. You know, like it's a pre-order only or whatever. I buy a lot of my anime in the US from Robert's Anime Corner Store. He does it the same way in many cases, because some of these places will only sell directly to certain companies, or now that Sony owns everything when it comes to anime, they can just sell it through Crunchyroll Store and it's exclusive to there. So if he's going to sell it to you, what he has to do is literally buy it in bulk, might get a little bit of a deal, right? And then resell it to you. So it's obviously going to cost more. But do you want to, like, ideally you give it to a mom and pop shop rather than, you know, the giant corporate monolith that's not even trying to take over the market, has taken over the market. You know, it depends on what the price difference is. Also, obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but he'll try to keep stuff. Like, I've bought stuff from him much more expensively, obviously, but further down the line. You know, like once it's already been discontinued, he'll stock it because he'll have some left. Whereas a lot of these, like, you know, retailers like your Best Buy, which doesn't even sell physical media anymore, they try to get this shit out as, like, they don't want to hold on to the stock. Holding on to the stock wastes room, space, etc. So yeah, this is one where, like, yeah, I wish I didn't have one that was like, that looks like water damage to me, but as long as the disc is okay, I really don't care. And also, realistically, if the disc isn't okay, I think I spent 90 yen on it or something, or 120 yen. Much cheaper, because they didn't have the decade. They had 2 of the decades, I believe, used but not super duper cheap, so where I could buy both of them. Here, decade. Yeah, so here's another thing. This one is bordering on new pricing, 1,900 yen. But it was 3,900 yen new, because it's got the CD and the DVD, right? Whereas this guy, I would have definitely bought another one because it was 270 yen. So had there been another one of these, I would have picked it up. However, the only other roses on HMV's website were the new ones, and those were like 2,700 yen, right? So, you know. But yeah, for those wondering, Bloodthirsty Butchers, that's like post-hardcore. You know, Age of Kung Fu Generation, indie rock, pop rock. We got Indigo Jam Unit. They're going to be jazz or a ska band. It's in the name. Ska, boom satellites, electronic, drum and bass. You know, that kind of more European, I would say. That's why they actually, like, they failed initially in Japan, went over to Europe, and then Japan scouted them there. This is 9miles. That's going to be like ska, jazz, ska, reggae, depending on the album. If running 9miles comes, brain is farting. It's the same reason why Manabe from The Pillows named his 9miles, but spelled out. My brain is farting on the name of the artist. Bob Marley was born and buried. There you go. So that's why you'll see a lot of things around reggae-ish. 9miles, right? I don't know why my brain is just not functioning at the level it really probably should be. Yeah, so that's why there's quite a few bands with names named 9miles or related to it. Then we have Volan Oriental Machine. Actually a spin-off of, I'm thinking, Bloodthirsty Butchers, which then went to split out into Number Girl, Zazen Boys. Volan Oriental Machine is one of those. So post-hardcore, basically everybody that came out of Butchers and Number Girl, they all put out great stuff. I've listened to all of those bands that have come out of there. So you can kind of see like what my tastes in music are. This is, in many cases, a good selection of a lot of the rarer stuff. Boom Satellites, not all that much rare. Once they hit it big, they're done by Sony. Their stuff was readily available even back in the day, even in the US, because they were in Appleseed, the CG movie, that was pushed. But in The Dark Knight, in the fight in the bar scene, they had a song. There's also another big movie that they had a song in. So their stuff was definitely more Western leaning, because like I said, that they were actually over in Europe for the longest time. And then in the 90s, because they knew they had something, but it wasn't taking off in Japan. And that's actually where their Japanese label found them. The irony there. There is actually a tape floating around from their demo tape from when they were in the UK. So it's like, and in some cases, that's the only place you can get certain tracks on there. Like part ones of tracks are only on that. They made follow-ups on CDs and albums that came out later. But yeah, so this is a very good selection of things that I listen to be truthful. Some of this is definitely on the rarer side when it comes to like you actually being able to find and listen to it. Questions, comments, throw them down below. Or, as always, like this sort of thing, very few, but a couple of you have reached out. Either, I think one was Twitter, the other one was Discord. Discord's, to be truthful, probably the best. There's a link in the description. Because some of this can be hard to find /link /explain, depending on what you're looking for. We're still waiting on, if we zoom in over here, I'm out of sleeves for the vinyl. So that vinyl, as well as the two new ones over here, we're waiting. Our sleeves are on back order. And then there's the other set of new CDs that need to get put away. Opened up, make sure they're in half decent condition, etc. There's a big stack of mice too, so you're going to expect a bunch of mouse reviews, because it turns out I have that many that are not reviewed. And a bunch of those are going to be like, that's a Basilisk V3 or a, what is that SteelSeries? I think that's like the, like a special edition of a Rival 600. Yeah, they were in the back of the shelf behind that where the vinyl is now. Yeah. Haste 2. Forgot I even bought that. Whoa. I didn't even know you could zoom in that far. Well, keep an eye out for a future video, because at least one of those two boxes there is, instead of used, it's new music. So hope you'll come back and check that out in a future video. Peace.